Young, Elway, Favre. Rodgers is going to be there. Donovan McNabb and Jeff Garcia had very, very good careers. They were Pro Bowl. Donovan went to the Super Bowl. Jeff Garcia had a very good career in San Francisco.
Had a good career.
So why can't Dak? Dak can be a perennial Pro Bowl type quarterback that can get his team consistently in the playoffs. I think Donovan is close to what 40,000 yards, 45,000 yards. Dak can do that in this offense. Now the difference is that when you look at what we had in Denver with Mike Shanahan, we had a dominant back. Of all, Montana never had a back like TD. Favre and Rodgers never had a back like TD. Donovan never had a back like TD. So we ran the ball. Terrell Davis. We ran the ball a little bit more, Skip. And what helped us is because early on is that we had John Elway. TD was a sixth-round draft pick. It's like, we got to worry about Elway. We ain't worried about no sixth-round draft pick. And then all of a sudden, 1,500, 1,700. Well, we better start worrying about, but that's still Elway.
He was getting up there in
right.
years.
Yeah, that was year 12.
Okay.
And so now you have to worry. Now, how do we, we stop this? If we sit back and play coverage, TD's going to rush for 150, 200 yards. If we put the eighth guy down in the box, Elway still can make plays with his arm.
Yep.
This is what a great luxury for them to have, because in the West Coast offense, Skip, the short passing game was an extension of your running game. That wasn't for us. Our running game was our running game.
Yep.
And we threw the ball, play action, we put the ball down the field. So I believe Dak will benefit, Skip, because the reads are very, very simple. 1, 2, 3, get the ball out of your hands. Let your guys make plays for you. That's why you have a Jerry Rice, tremendous run after the catch. You had a T.O., tremendous run after the catch. Sterling Sharp, guys that can run after the catch, Skip, will play well. I believe Gallup. I believe Gallup's going to play the X receiver, which is the open side, John Taylor. I believe Amari Cooper will play the Z, Jerry Rice, Sterling Sharp, Terrell Owens. So, Skip, this offense is very, very, if you got guys that can catch and run, I believe they do. You got a quarterback. Dak Prescott is show every year. He's got a little better, a little better. But they got a Zeke. Zeke is the closest thing to TD in the running back up in the West Coast that we've seen. But I do believe Dak will benefit the most. But don't skimp on the carries to Zeke. Let Zeke get his 20 carries a game and watch this offense take off.
I just hope they come more creatively. I hope they come more unpredictably.
You don't want 8 of them on first down.
I do not want to see that, and I don't believe Mike McCarthy is built that way.
No.
He's not a run it on every first down kind of a play caller.
But he's never had a guy like Zeke now, Skip. Eddie Lacy was Rookie of the Year. Armand Green, Ryan Grant, they were good guys. But that ain't Zeke.
I just hope that next year Zeke turns back into Terrell Davis, and if he does, I'm good. You can hand it to him all game long, because that man carried John Elway to 2 Super Bowls.
Yeah.
I do not think John would have 2 Super Bowl championships.
No.
He got them to all those other, how many, the other ones?
Got 3.
3.
Got 3. 86, 87, 89.
And they just weren't good enough. They were good enough to win the AFC, but they weren't good enough to beat the NFC.
Right.
Okay. So before I get into my answer to Jenny's question, I want to refer to a piece that was written in The Athletic by Bob McGuinn, for whom I have a lot of respect, because he covered the Packers for 40 years in Milwaukee and Green Bay. And he made one strong point that will benefit both Dak and Zeke.
Yes.
And that is Mike McCarthy's mantra. He always preached that a coach, that the team becomes what the coach preaches hardest, and that he preaches turnover ratio. Protect the football, take away the football.
Right.
And this is a stunning stat about McCarthy's 204 games that he coached in the regular season in Green Bay. They were a plus 97 in those games. Jason Garrett coached 152 straight regular season games for the Dallas Cowboys.
Minus what?
Minus 2. Okay, now think about this. Plus 97 in more games coached to minus 2. So Jason Garrett's mantra is not focus on the turnover ratio. It's whatever else it is that wasn't working. It's 8 and 8.
A lot of that has to do with Romo, because you know Romo was turnover prone.
High risk, high reward, but mostly high risk.
Yes.
Okay, I got you. So then McGinn also makes the point how much impact that a younger Mike McCarthy had in the first couple of years on Brett Favre, that he actually, to quote the piece, he had a firm but steady guidance on Favre that toned down his impulsiveness, and he had his best statistical year under Mike McCarthy when he had a passer rating of 95.7, and it was his best in his 11 years with the Packers, who went 13-3 in 2007. That was it.
Right.
Okay, so he's saying he really had clean-it-up impact on Favre's game, took the Romo impulsiveness out of Brett Favre. And then this is stunning to me, but because I was not giving McCarthy any credit for this because I thought he sort of went as Aaron Rodgers went. But McGinn, who really knows what he's talking about, said, few will remember the start of Aaron Rodgers' career. 2 years in, 2 starting years in, obviously he's there for 3 before that. 2 starting years in, there were as many scouts who believed his career would be a bust as there were those who did not. He couldn't have been less impressive in his first 2 seasons under Mike McCarthy. But then McGinn's giving McCarthy credit for starting to help him evolve into the transcendent thrower of the football that you talked about. Okay, well, if I should give credit there instead of just crediting Aaron Rodgers with the rise of Mike McCarthy, well, then that is going to help Dak Prescott because, as you said, incrementally, a little better, a little better, a little better. Well, maybe you could make a quantum leap into a big-time winning playoff quarterback.
Yeah, Skip, and it's when you look at a coach, and he's like, hold on, he coached Brett Favre, win the Super Bowl, the MVP, Aaron Rodgers, win the Super Bowl, MVP. Skip, how does that not like, hey, he might have that same impact on me. If they did it, why can't I? So Mike McCarthy comes with credibility. No matter what you think about him, it's because of this or because of that. He comes with credibility. And Dak is going to be all ears. It's going to be very interesting, and I'm sure at some point, Skip, the most important thing for Jerry Jones, he needs to go to Dak and says, Dak, what do I need to do? Go ahead and give him, Skip, don't haggle over.
The whole nother
don't haggle. Get him in the camp. Because I believe
have to get him in camp.
I believe Dak is ready to take the next step. If what Bob McGinn is saying, he's ready to take the next step, and the Cowboys can get to what you believe is the Super Bowl 54.
And it rang true what McCarthy was saying about Dak because he even had film that he saved of Dak at the Combine when he was about to be a 4th-round pick of the Dallas Cowboys. And McCarthy made a strong point that he was even more impressed. Remember the early game Dak played at Lambeau? When he did outplay Aaron Rodgers in that game. Zeke had a big game. They had a big game. And they won pretty handily. It was in October of Dak's rookie year at Lambeau Field against Mike McCarthy's team. Obviously, there was a lot of success McCarthy had against Dallas, which helped get him the job. But that wasn't one of
the games.
And he said it was so impressive seeing him up close and personal. He has a presence because he weighs, I don't know, 240-ish.
Easy.
Somewhere in there. Maybe at that point 250-ish because I think he lost a little weight this year. But the point is, everything he said about Dak, he said, we can run the whole playbook with this guy because he can make all the throws. We don't have to help here or you know, you can't do this.
Scale
you
it
can't
down.
do that. You can't. He said, we don't scale anything back for him. What he said about Zeke was platitudes to me. Any quarterback needs a good running game, blah, blah, blah. And it didn't ring true to me about Zeke. I still say Zeke they will use in different ways. You brought up the point he may have to catch it more. And I do believe he'll catch it more. And I do believe that Mike McCarthy in the end wants to throw the football. Even more than Mike Shanahan with you wanted to throw the football. His DNA is throw.
Because Skip, if you look at the West Coast, most of the guys in the blacks in the West Coast, Roger Craig, Ricky Waters, guys of that nature, they caught the ball. Yeah, they had 1,000 yards rushing, but they catching 50 and 60 balls. TD never caught. I don't think TD ever caught more than 30 balls, maybe 25. His job, we ran the football with TD.
And you had an offensive line could flat out open holes.
That's going to be the key, Skip. Who's going to be his offensive line coach? Because the offensive line is really, in the West Coast, is really the most important because they got twofold. You got to protect, but you got to open holes. So it's going to be interesting to see how they orchestrate this thing. Because, like I said, I believe Dak is ready to take the next step. You get Amari. I'm just assuming that Amari and Gallup's going to come back, and you got Zeke. Skip, you already got 3 Pro Bowl offensive linemen. At some point in time, they've been all pros in their career. You got Lyle Collins, who many believe is the best right tackle in football. Okay, your left guard. Okay, we'll see how that works out. But if you got four top linemen and you got one guy a week, you can make up